very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and here are this morning's headlines. BJP forms a 3-member panel for consensus president choice. Committee to forge consensus with other parties ahead of the election on 17th of July. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit the US on 25th and 26th of June on the invitation of President Donald Trump. H-1B visa, terrorism and economic growth on agenda for Modi-Trump talks. Terrorists lob a grenade at a CRPF camp in J&K's Pulwama district. 2 Jawans injured. Army recovers arms from LOC in Poonch. Madhya Pradesh government appoints commission to inquire into Mandsaur violence to submit report within 3 months. 5 farmers were killed during the police firing on 6th of June. And Donald Trump's revised travel ban suffers another legal setback. A second US Court of Appeals refuses to revive the controversial ban. Presidential poll is our top focus this morning, and the BJP on Monday formed a 3-member team to build a greater consensus on the government's candidate for the presidential election. Now, the election is scheduled to be held on the 17th of July this year. Now, the members of the committee are Union Ministers Rajnath Singh, Jaitely and Venkaiah Naidu.
BJP President Amit Shah on Monday formed a 3-member committee to pick the NDA's candidate for the presidential election. The committee includes Home Minister Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister Arun Jaitely and Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu. The senior leaders will talk to NDA members and pick a name to represent the alliance in the election. The opposition parties, including the Congress, TMC, RJD and the Left Front, have also constituted a similar committee to hold talks on candidate.
As far as parties in opposition, we had our own meeting earlier and we have made our position clear. Whoever may be the candidate, candidate must be one who has strong commitment to the constitution and who is known for secular democratic credentials. We will see what the ruling party is going to do.
Till date, neither the BJP-led NDA nor the Congress-headed opposition have announced their presidential candidates. President Pranab Mukherjee's term ends on July 24, 2017. The presidential election will be held on July 17th and the counting of votes will take place on July 20th. Political parties have until 28th June to file nominations. July 1st is the last date for the withdrawal of nominations. Currently, there are 13 vacancies in the Electoral College that will elect the president. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, let's get an update on the situation in Darjeeling, and the ongoing indefinite shutdown called by the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha in Darjeeling turned violent, with the GJM supporters resorting to vandalism in government offices. Now, the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, which controls the Gorkha Land Territorial Administration, has called a shutdown of all the state and GTA offices to press its demand for the creation of a separate state. The Mamata Banerjee government, however, claimed normal attendance at the offices. Transport, hotels, schools and colleges were exempted from the Bandh. The shutdown has also forced tourists out of the hill station due to the threat of violence. This face-off between the state government and the GJM triggered after Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee announced the introduction of Bengali language in schools in the hills. Now, the GJM leadership has called the government measure an encroachment on their district Nepali identity and culture.
इंडिफिनेट ऑफिसेस बंद, ऑफिसेस क्लोजर हुआ है. हम लोग ने फोर्सिबल बंद नहीं किया है. अभी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का इंटरवेंशन का हम लोग चाह रहा है तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इंटरवेंशन करे.
This is a political game, and for personal benefit of few person, they are spoiling the whole life of the Darjeeling people. Mamata Banerjee recently taken a decision to set up a secretariat at the hills.
All right, let's get the latest update from Darjeeling. Akhilesh Suman is now joining us on the phone line. A very good morning, Akhilesh. Yesterday, on the first day of the GJM Bandh, we saw The government offices were vandalized. The army is there on the standby. The tourists have been asked to stay away from the hill station. Can we expect some sort of solution as far as this standoff between GJM and Mamata Banerjee government is concerned?
I don't think it's because there is no communication channel existing between Mamata Banerjee and Mr. Gurung, Bimal Gurung, who is the GTA authority chief and also GJM's chief. So it is a confrontationist politics going on in Darjeeling area, the hill area and the valley area, because Mamata Banerjee has got some leverage in last month when she won a by-election. And after that, she is thinking that she can go more leverage if she continues with the politics of her own. Even had a very good relationship earlier because it was Mamata Banerjee's support that Mr. Gurung came to GTA authority and there were negotiations and Mamata Banerjee has committed for more powers to GTA than it was existing earlier in left front times when it was Gorkhaland Hill Council. So now you can understand that Mamata Banerjee when wants to take over the political mileage there, Mr. Gurung and other Gorkha parties are also very scared. And to take advantage of this situation, now today at 1 p.m. actually, this Gorkha Jan Mukti Morcha has called an all-party meeting in Darjeeling to decide about the further course of action. So it is going to be consolidated in the name of Gorkhaland. That has almost evaporated in the last 4 or 5 years. But now, because of this confrontation politics, the issue has again come to the fore. And there is no communication even between Mamata Banerjee and the center on this issue. So center is just keeping watch on this. And I talked to the BJP officials, BJP leaders here. They are telling that yes, we have communication with the GTA people, Gorkha Jan Mukti Morcha people. But since Mamata Banerjee is not taking any initiative to talk to anyone, so in this situation there is no, seemingly there is no scenario that a stalemate can go into the easy situation today. But let us see that who takes the initiative first. It has to be taken first by Mamata Banerjee, I think, Aishwarya.
Right. Akhilesh, now, the Gorkha, the GTA really has been pressing for a separate state of Gorkha land for a pretty long time now. But as far as the present protest is concerned, it really intensified after the Mamata Banerjee government decided to impose Bengali language in the schools in the hills till class 10. So is there any indication that you are getting from the government that the government of the state might actually rethink the policy?
Yeah, actually government has announced that it will be an optional subject, Aishwarya. But when Mamata Banerjee was there in Darjeeling for her cabinet meeting and administrative meeting, people in Gorkha areas were expecting that she will announce something like that from there, so that they should not feel threatened because of the imposition of the language. But when she went there, instead of announcing something that goes straight to the ears of Gorkha people or GT or BJM, she was on confrontation line. She told that we have not made it optional, but it will be a third language. So they are telling, Gorkha people are telling that optional subjects also have options. Because you don't have just one language. You have many languages in India that can be optional. Then why are you forcing just one language? So they have no problem with Hindi and English to learn this. So it has been always a situation that Gorkha people feel that Mamata Banerjee is trying to project herself as a separatist and also non-Indian type of feeling because she is trying to project in rest of Bengal for facilitating her own vote bank. So this is a simmering discontent inside this Gorkha people, and that has come to this level that they are now asking for Gorkhaland again.
Right. All right, Akhilesh. Thank you so much for all those updates from Darjeeling there. On to the other top story now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the United States on 25th and 26th of June at the invitation of US President Donald Trump for a meeting at the White House. Now, Prime Minister Modi is expected to hold official talks with President Donald Trump on 26th of June. A number of issues, including terrorism and India's concerns over possible changes in the H-1B visa rules, are expected to come up during the tour. The External Affairs Ministry said that the discussions will provide a new direction for deeper bilateral engagement on the issues of mutual interest and consolidation of multi-dimensional strategic partnership between India and the United States. Now, this would be Modi's first trip to the US since the Trump administration took over. The two leaders have, however, spoken on the phone at least 3 times earlier. Meanwhile, in Washington, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said that Donald Trump is looking forward to meeting Modi and discuss ways to strengthen bilateral ties to advance common priorities of fighting terrorism, promoting economic growth and reforms, and expanding security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. Now, apart from ways to enhance trade and business cooperation, Prime Minister Modi and President Donald Trump are also expected to discuss defense ties. In the latest series of developments from Madhya Pradesh, the state government has appointed a single-member commission to inquire into the police firing incident in Mandsaur, in which 5 farmers were killed on 6th of June. A retired High Court Judge Justice J.K. Jain would chair this commission of inquiry. The commission headquarters will be in Indore and it will submit its report within 3 months. Meanwhile, in a related development, the state government on Monday also transferred 7 IAS officers, including Home Secretary Madhu Khare. Now, meanwhile, Patidar Kota stir leader Hardik Patel arrived in Udaipur on Monday. He is likely to reach Mandsaur today with a large number of supporters to meet the agitating farmers. He arrived in Udaipur from Gujarat by road to attend a private function. Meanwhile, even as the Maharashtra government announced a farm debt waiver on Monday, a farmer reeling under debt committed suicide in Akola district. In another incident, one farmer has also committed suicide in Shior region of Madhya Pradesh. The farmer was reportedly under debt of 6 lakh rupees. Meanwhile, farmers in Punjab on Monday also staged protests across the state demanding farm loan waiver and the implementation of Swaminathan Commission report for fixing of minimum support prices for their produce. Activists of 7 farmer outfits staged dharnas at all the district headquarters. The protesters were joined by Shiromani Akali Dal and BJP workers, with the sad President Sukhbir Singh Badal also leading the demonstrations in Ludhiana.
मोदी सरकार आने के बाद बीज से लेकर बाजार तक किसानों के लिए जितनी सहायता हमने तेज की है, उन योजनाओं का क्रियान्वयन राज्य के माध्यम से हम कर रहे हैं। अब प्रधानमंत्री सिंचाई योजना क्या था, ये जो आज आंदोलन करवा रहे हैं या आग लगवा रहे हैं, इनसे पूछना होगा कि 100 मध्यम और बड़ी परियोजनाएं देश की पैसा के अभाव में 20-25 वर्ष तक लंबित रहा। इसी प्रधानमंत्री के आने के बाद कॉर्पस फंड बनाया गया है और 23 परियोजना पूरे होने के कगार पर है।
And in related news, Finance Minister Arun Jaitly on Monday said that the states that are waiving the farm loans have to pay from their own resources and that centre will not help the states in farm loan waiver. Now, Jaitly's statement comes a day after the Maharashtra government waived farmers' loans. Uttar Pradesh was the first state this year to announce 36,359 crore rupees farm debt waiver for small and marginal farmers. Now, despite a bumper crop this Rabi season, farmers in the many states of the country are in distress because of sharp fall in prices in both domestic and global market, which is resulting into an agitation-like situation in the country.
States which want to go in for these kind of schemes will have to generate them from their own resources. Beyond that, as the central government, I have nothing more to say.
On to the other news story, and Finance Minister Arun Jaitly also took stock of the finances of public sector banks yesterday. Now, bad loans or NPAs were also discussed with the heads of the PSU banks. The RBI is in advanced state of preparing a list of bad loans where resolution is required under the insolvency and bankruptcy rule. Also, the government is actively working on consolidation of state-owned banks. The Finance Minister also said that there are challenges to credit growth and that a speedy resolution of all the pending NPA cases is the need of the hour.
I have already made the position concerned that states which want to go in for these kind of schemes will have to generate them from their own resources. Beyond that, as the central government, I have nothing more to say. Under the new ordinance which was issued, the RBI is at a fairly advanced stage of preparing a list of those debtors where a resolution is required through the IBC process. And you will shortly be hearing about it.
And in news from Jammu and Kashmir, where 2 Jawans were injured on Monday night when terrorists lobbed a grenade on a CRPF camp in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama district, prompting the security forces to cordon off the area. The incident took place in Tral in Kashmir's Pulwama district. The security forces cordoned off the area after the attack and a hen hunt was on to nab the culprits. Earlier in the day, the security forces also recovered a huge quantity of arms and ammunition near the line of control in Kashmir's Poonch, where terrorists from Pakistan had made several infiltration attempts. The soldiers successfully foiled the infiltration bids by Pakistan-backed terrorists in Poonch since the intervening night of Monday. The soldiers also recovered combat jackets, grenades, radio sets and eateries from the site. And Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Monday said the centre was committed to fast-tracking the development initiatives in the northeastern states, especially in the border areas. Now, addressing a meeting of the chief ministers of the 4th northeastern states to discuss the issues of Indo-Myanmar border, the Home Minister said that a committee will be set up for the identification of gaps in basic facilities and infrastructure along the Indo-Myanmar border. He also stressed on better connectivity with Myanmar and said that the northeastern region was immensely rich in human and natural resources.
I constitute a committee headed by Special Secretary Internal Security to examine the present rules and regulations adopted by the border states for implementation of free movement regime and to give recommendations for uniform and effective implementation of free movement regime.
Now, the retail inflation fell to a record low of 2.18% in May compared to 5.76% in the corresponding period last year. The fall was triggered by a sharp decline in the prices of vegetables and pulses. Consumer price-based inflation for April 2017 was 2.99%. The overall food inflation was in negative territory at minus 1.05% during the month. The vegetable prices also declined 13.44%, while pulses and other products fell 19.45%. The index of industrial production also slipped to 3.1% in April against 6.5% in the same month last year. According to the data released by the Central Statistics Office, manufacturing sector grew 2.8% in April, while the mining sector output grew 4.2%. Power generation also rose 5.4% in April. Now, in a bid to iron out differences over the crucial issue of a daily revision of petrol and diesel prices, now India's 3 state-run oil marketing companies will meet the representatives of the Petroleum Dealers Association on Tuesday. Petrol pump dealers' bodies have raised concerns over the new system of dynamic pricing, which will come into effect beginning 16th of June this year. Now, during the meeting, the oil companies Indian Oil Corp, Bharat Petroleum Corp and Hindustan Petroleum will explain the benefits of a daily price revision. At present, the companies change prices fortnightly across the country, aligning them with international rates and also factoring in currency fluctuations. Now, motor fuel retailers have demanded companies automate all the filing stations so that the prices can centrally be changed without the intervention of the dealers. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari has said that the country needs a responsible press to hold power to account. Ansari cautioned that any onslaught on the freedom of press jeopardizes the rights of the citizens. The Vice President made these remarks at the launch of the commemorative edition of the National Herald newspaper in Bengaluru yesterday.
खींचो ना कमानों को ना तलवार निकालो जब तोप मुकाबिल हो तो अखबार निकालो.
Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari on Monday underscored the need for a free media, which he said is necessary in a free society. Ansari asserted that in today's age of post-truths and alternative facts, the primary role of the press as a watchdog assumes paramount importance in a democracy.
If press freedom is attacked, it will result in the jeopardizing of citizens' rights. When faced with unjust restrictions and the threat of attacks, self-censorship in the media can have the opposite effect, aiding the covering up of abuses and fostering frustration in marginalized communities.
The Vice President also noted that the constitutional framework provides for intervention by the state to ensure smooth working of the press, but such intervention should only be in public interest.
The state shall not impede the free flow of information that will go a long way in protecting and promoting the citizens' rights. The media, if it is to remain true to its calling, has to do likewise.
The Vice President's remarks came on the occasion to mark the launch of the commemorative edition of the National Herald to mark the 70th year of independence. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. Up next, we have all the international and sports news. Stay tuned.
Ghata, one of the oldest and most unique percussion instruments of southern India. You can play it not only with your fingers, but palms, wrists and heels as well. You'll be surprised, but the air inside the ghatam reverberates, creating the musical notes. 5 elements of nature, earth, water, air, fire and space make up the composition of this beautiful musical piece, which has found an apt place in most of the ancient books.
Thanks for staying with us. A big international story, and another U.S. appeals court has ruled against President Donald Trump's temporary travel ban on people entering the United States from 6 Muslim-majority countries, largely upholding a lower court's decision. Now, the court concluded that the president was required to prove his case for the ban, but he failed to do so. Now, White House, however, says that it will appeal in the country's Supreme Court.
And this is the protection of the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States. We all know what that means. Protection of the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States.
US President Donald Trump had cited safety from terrorists as the reason behind a revised executive order that limits travel from 6 predominantly Muslim countries. However, there has been another setback to that revised travel ban. A US appeals court ruled against the order, saying it violated immigration legislation. The ruling from the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals is yet another stinging loss from a court that similarly refused to reinstate Trump's original executive order on travel in February.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
However, the dispute is not yet over, with the White House insisting that it will take the matter to the US Supreme Court. It is noteworthy that Trump had issued the revised executive order on 6th of March after the original one signed in January sparked confusion at airports and protests and was struck down by the US courts. The revised 90-day ban was to apply to people from Iran, Libya, Syria, Somalia, Sudan and Yemen. It also called for a 120-day ban on all refugees. The White House continues to insist that the ban is needed for national...
I think we can all attest that these are very dangerous times, and we need every available tool at our disposal to prevent terrorists from entering the United States and committing acts of bloodshed and violence. We continue to be confident that the President's executive order to protect this country is fully lawful and ultimately will be upheld by the Supreme Court.
The latest court's order is a further legal setback for the President's efforts to get the ban he promised his supporters during the election campaign. The revised travel ban was earlier also blocked by federal judges in Hawaii and Maryland in separate rulings just hours before it was due to come into force. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, let's get you some more international news in World Wrap. A Russian court has sentenced a Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, to 30 days in prison. Navalny has been punished for repeatedly violating the law on organizing public meetings. Navalny and over 1,500 of his supporters were arrested after anti-Kremlin demonstrations across the nation against the government corruption. Navalny is a strong critic of Russian Vladimir Putin. This is Navalny's second prison term this year. He had served a 15-day jail term after large protests in March. The UK Parliament will reassemble today for the first time after the recently concluded elections and will elect a speaker. Members of Parliament will then take an oath ahead of the ceremonial state opening on 19th of June. British Prime Minister Theresa May is also due to meet Arlene Foster, who is the leader of the Democratic Unionist Party, which has 10 seats to finalise a deal to ensure support for her minority government major issues. And US Attorney General Jeff Sessions will appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee today. He will address the matters brought up by former FBI Director James Comey in his testimony earlier this week to the same committee. Sessions had earlier planned to appear before the Senate and House Appropriations subcommittees, but the Deputy Attorney General will take his place. All right, in sports news, Pakistan defeated Sri Lanka by 3 wickets in the final Group B game to reach the semi-finals of the ICC Champions Trophy. Now, choosing to field first, Pakistan produced a disciplined bowling performance as they picked up regular wickets to restrict Sri Lanka to 236 runs. Now, Niroshan Dikwela top scored for the Lankans with 73 runs, while for Pakistan, Junaid Khan and Hassan Ali picked up 3 wickets each. In reply, Pakistani side started the chase well, with opener Farhan Zaman racing to 36-ball 50, but his departure led to a batting collapse that saw them losing 6 wickets for just 63 runs. However, skipper Sarfraz Ahmed cracked a gritty unbeaten 50 as Pakistan survived some tense moments before notching up a thrilling win. Now, the result means that Pakistan will now face host England in the first semi-final on 14th of June, while defending champions India will take on Bangladesh in the second semi-final on the next day, that is 15th of June. Some more sporting action in Sports Beats. India's Jeetu Rai and Hina Sindhu combined to clinch the gold medal in the mixed team 10 meters air pistol event of the ISSF World Cup. The pair defeated Russia 7-6 in the final. Both Jeetu and Hina had narrowly missed out on making the final of the individual men's and women's 10 meters air pistol event, finishing 12th and 9th in their respective qualification rounds. India's men's doubles pair of Swasai Raj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty notched up twin wins to enter the main draw of the Indonesian Open Super Series Premier Badminton Tournament. Satvik and Chirag saw off the Indonesian pair to make it to the opening round of the main draw. Meanwhile, top Indian shuttler Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu will start their campaign at the women's singles on Tuesday. And Rafael Nadal's magnificent run to the 10th French Open title moved him into second in the latest ATP World Rankings. The Spaniard's two-place jump was at the expense of Novak Djokovic, whose French Open quarterfinal exit saw the Serb dropping from second position to the 4th, his lowest ranking in 8 years now. That's all in this edition of news. Thanks for watching.